Hello dear students, today we are starting the first part of our IELTS Techniques class. Today we have the reading module, which you can see on the screen. Now we're going to start and go straight to the topic. Now we talked about 4 skills, speaking, listening, reading and writing. The most challenging for students are reading and writing, and that's why we are starting with the reading module for today. So as you can see, when you want to go to university or college, you may be overwhelmed. It means there is too much information and you have to do a lot of reading. So the amount of reading is a lot and you are expected to read a lot of information. So you have to have techniques and strategies to be able to study the readings effectively. So this means you will have to use the skills required to focus in on the information that is important to you, and also to use the techniques which are skimming and scanning. The IELTS tests your ability to read approximately 2,000 words in a fairly short period of time, which is about 60 minutes. And you will have time to answer 40 questions in these 60 minutes. So going straight to the first part for today, which is our test. So the reading skills unit 1. And as you can see, the first unit is about orientating yourself to the text. It means becoming familiar. So orientating means becoming familiar with the text and understanding the situation and the text that you're going to read. Now, how can you get started when you have an IELTS reading test? As a reader, you need to have strategies to help you understand a text quickly. The first step is to predict what the text will be about by reading the title and subheading. So, for example, if you can, as you can see here, we have the title of a reading, Airheads, and you have the subheading, which is this part. You quickly have a look at that when you have a IELTS text in the exam and you try to predict the information. Alright, the next thing you must know is how can you form a quick overview of the text. An overview means to understand the general perspective of the text and what the text is actually talking about. So you can form a quick overview by asking yourself certain questions. So when you see a reading, ask yourself some questions. And you also need to pay attention to the paragraph themes and the keywords, which we will discuss later on in the lesson. So these are some of the questions you can ask yourself. For example, what is the introduction about? What was the text? Why was this text written? Was it written to give me information? Was it written to give me some details? And who was it written for? Is it written for doctors, for teachers, for students, for businessmen? So when you understand these 3 basic questions, then you will be able to understand the text better and break it down. So these are some crucial questions that can help you orientate yourself to the question. So whenever you have a reading that you need to understand, ask yourself question A, B, and C. What, why, and who? What is the introduction? Why was the text written, and who is it written for? Now let's have a look at the exercise that we have at the bottom. We're going to try to use the title and subheading that we have in this text, using titles and subheadings. So as you can see, nearly all articles in the IELTS that you read in journals, magazines, and newspapers will have a title. Many will also have a subheading. So we call this part the title and we call this part the subheading. So heading means the title. Subheading is something which explains the topic. So when you read the title and subheading of a magazine, try to ask yourself again 3 questions which we talked about. What is the article about? What is the topic? What kind of person would be interested in this article? And what would you expect to read in the first paragraph? So that is basically some information that you can ask yourself. And when you get that idea, then it will be much easier for you. So let's go to this text. Airheads. We might know what the meaning is. We might not know the meaning. Look at the subheading. Pilot's judgment may be impaired by too many long-haul flights. So now we understand more and we can orientate ourselves to the text. So the pilot's judgment may be impaired, which means it will be damaged, the judgment of the pilot on how to guide the aircraft, by too many long-haul flights. If there are too many long-haul is long-distance flights. So if there are too many long-distance flights, the pilot may not be able to control the aircraft because he will have sleeping problems or mind problems, or he will be tired. So this is what it generally means. Now let's answer the questions. So question A, what will the article be about? The article will be about how long-haul flights will affect the pilot's ability. So this is something that you can write. So long distance flights will affect the pilot's ability to make good decisions. So this is what the article is about. What kind of person would be interested in this article? So it would be easy to say that pilots, airplane companies, people who are training to be pilots, or people who would love to have information about pilots and aircrafts. So generally, pilots would be interested in this article, or people who are working in the aviation industry. And what would you expect to read in the first paragraph? So generally, you could expect to have more information about how flying might affect your decision or the pilot's decision. So more information about the topic. So that is something you can generally do, and you can ask yourself when you see a topic which is in the IELTS, you can ask yourself these three main questions. What is the topic and what is the article about? What kind of people would be interested in this article? What would you expect to read in the first paragraph? All right. So let's go to the next part. Now we're going to have a sample of a paragraph, which first paragraph about the same topic, airheads. So let's read the first paragraph and answer the questions which follow. Let's have a look at the questions. Question A, before we read the text. So what is the writer's purpose in the first paragraph? So when you ask yourself this question, what is the writer's purpose? You can generally understand what the text is about, because every text has a purpose. It gives you information, gives you details, gives you insight. So what is the purpose in the first paragraph? Is there a sentence that summarizes the main idea in the first paragraph? Now, we will talk a lot about main ideas and supporting ideas in the future, but for now, I just want to give you a quick overview of what is main idea and supporting idea. The main idea and supporting idea are generally two parts of any text which tell you about the main idea and the main topic of a paragraph, and the information which is provided about the topic of the paragraph. So for example, if I want to give you a general idea, I could say that if we have a topic, for example, about sports, and this is, for example, a sheet of paper. If we have a topic about sports, and I want to give you some information about sports, I could write 1, 2, 3, or even more paragraphs. Every paragraph will have a main idea. So as you can see, each one of my paragraphs will have a main idea. For example, the first paragraph could be about general information about sports. The second paragraph could be about, for example, famous or most popular sports in the world. And the third paragraph would be about the money that athletes make in sports. These are my main ideas. And the information that I give to explain these main ideas are supporting ideas. We will talk about that in the future more and more, but this is just a quick overview. We will have a special lesson on main ideas and supporting ideas in reading. So let's answer the questions, and let's read the text before we do that. Now, these are the types of questions that you can ask yourself. So these are the types of questions that you can ask yourself when you first read a text. They should form part of your reading strategy. So what is the writer's purpose, and what is the sentence that summarizes the main idea in this paragraph? So let's go through the text together and try to work out what the text is about. Now, globetrotting means going to different locations in the world. For example, going to Australia, England, Brazil, Iran, other countries. So globe means world, trotting means going across several time zones. Time zones are different times in the world. On long haul flights, long distance flights. Impairs means damages memory and the reaction times of the pilot by shrinking. Shrinking means making smaller parts of the brain. So this is the main idea. When you go through different time zones on long distance flights, if you're the pilot or the passengers, it will shrink your brain. It will make you sleepy. This might mean, this means this information that we have in the first line might mean that airlines should allow their crews at least 10 days to recover from jet lag. So jet lag is the tiredness that you have after a flight before you go on another long-haul flight, says the scientist who discovered this effect. So the scientist who discovered this effect can go at the beginning. So the scientist who discovered this effect says, you can add something here in your mind, says, globetrotting, now you continue reading. So the scientist who discovered this effect of the shrinking of the brain says that when you go through different time zones on long distance flights, your memory will be damaged and your reaction time will be less by shrinking parts of your brain. This means that the airlines should allow their crew 10 days to rest and recover from jet lag before you go on another flight. So what is the writer's purpose in this paragraph? You can absolutely understand that the writer's purpose is to provide brief information of what happens to your brain when you go on long haul flights. So information on what happens to pilots' brains on long distance or long haul flights. That's it. And B could be, is there a sentence that best summarizes the main idea in the first paragraph? So you could say that the first sentence, globetrotting across several time zones impairs memory and reaction times. This is a good main idea. It gives you information about what the main idea of the paragraph is. So globetrotting across until brain. This is the main sentence which summarizes the idea of the paragraph. And that's it. Nothing very difficult or spectacular. You just have to understand the structure of the text, and you have to understand the overall main idea, which is usually one sentence, or sometimes in very few cases, 2 sentences. So when you understand what is the main idea, then you will understand that the main idea is the sentence that gives information about the general idea and the topic. So what was the topic? This was the topic: airheads and pilots' judgment may be impaired. So the first paragraph gives information about the topic, and the next sentences, as you can see here, this might mean gives more information, and we call these supporting ideas. They support the main idea, which is the first sentence. All right. So this is an example of the first part of the reading. And we will go through another text right now and another topic and try to work out what the topic means. So look at this. This is another topic, pearly gems. It talks about gems, which are jewels in the sea, or stones, precious stones that we have everywhere in the world. And let's read the topic and subheading. And as you can see, the topic is pearly gems. Gems means stones like this one, and pearly means shining, something which is very beautiful and shiny, like gold. Would women through history have been so keen on the pearls around their necks if they had known what was inside them? Robert Dunn peels back the layers of this echo miracle. So I told you that the last sentence, which is the person or the scientist that explains, can come at the beginning. So you can say Robert Dunn, who peels back the layers of this echo miracle, would say that women, if they knew through history, women in history, if they knew what was inside these pearls, would they be so interested? Would they be so keen, which is interested, to know what was inside and to use them? So if they knew what was inside, would they be so keen to put these pearls around their necks? So this means that if women knew what was inside these pearls, they would never use them. So this is a general understanding of the topic. Now, the questions that we had, who would be interested in this text? Who is the text written for? What is the main topic and subheading? And what would you expect to read in the first paragraph? So as you can see here, this is the first and second paragraph of this text. And you can see that we have three questions. What is the writer's purpose in the second paragraph and first paragraph? How would you expect the article to continue? Is this text factual or descriptive? So we have two types of texts in the IELTS reading. They give facts, factual. They describe something, they are descriptive. So very quickly, we're going to read this paragraph and answer the questions. So there is a mystery and preciousness that we attach to pearls. It means pearls are mysterious. Yet, despite what people believe, it has nothing to do with a grain of sand. It means it has nothing to do with sand and the shore and the seaside. Pearls, which have long been the treasure of the wealthy, it means pearls have been something that the wealthy people use a lot for a long time throughout history, are often the products of dead worms. It means dead worms are the creatures which make these pearls. These dead worms, which remain entombed means prisoned or like a tomb, they put them inside, at the center of the jewels, which are minute, translucent, and ethereal, three adjectives which describe these pearls. Now, something about guessing words, you don't need to know the meaning of all the adjectives. You just need to know that the adjectives are describing something. And that is what helps you to understand a lot of different texts in the IELTS. You don't need to know all the vocabulary. Now, the second paragraph explains in more detail about what happens when these worms go into the muscles of flesh and muscles and use them as intermediate hosts en route to their later hosts, which in most cases are ducks or fish. So it says that these worms drill into the flesh of mussels. And you know what are mussels? This is a mussel. As you can see, the shell, the worm goes inside the shell and it drills inside this shell. And afterwards, the ducks or the fish eat this, and they go inside the bodies of ducks and fish. So in later cases are ducks and fish. The mussel's immune system battles the worms by encircling them in a layer after layer of nacre, the same calcium-based material found in the mussel's shells. The invaders suffocate and then rest for eternity in these tiny chambers. So it says the worms go inside the shells. The shell's immune system traps the worm with a layer of nacre, which is the same material, which is calcium based in the shell. So the material which is in the shell traps the worm. So inside this is a worm, all right, which is trapped. And that is what generally is explained generally in the second paragraph. Now, what is the writer's purpose in the second paragraph? So you can absolutely understand that the writer's purpose is to explain the process, how the pearls are made. So the process that pearls are made. It explains the process that they drill into the mussels and the fish eat them and stuff like that. And the next question, how would you expect the article to continue? We would expect the article to continue with more information about the pearls and maybe some background on the production, who uses them, the price of the pearls and stuff like that. So this is just orientating yourself to the text, becoming familiar to the text, all right? Now, thank you for being here on the first session of the reading module for the IELTS test. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more great lessons. We will cover the whole reading section and then we will continue on to the writing section. So stay with me and follow for the next lessons.